Welcome to EcoShuttle Trimet 101. Today we're going to be talking about the Lewis and Clark Shuttle. I did not write a script at all for this. I pretty much just wrote down the ideas that I have for the routes, and that's about it. So this video might turn out to be kind of a disaster, but whatever. So, let's say you go to Lewis and Clark College. Lewis and Clark College is not really serviced by Trimet anymore. So a shuttle is needed that connects from the college to downtown Portland, where a lot of people are coming from. But it's not so simple. It does serve a few things. So I'd like to talk about how it operates first, and then how I think it should operate in the future, or sort of goals to set for now. So, Lewis and Clark Shuttle is what I used to call this all the time, but it does have an actual route name, the Pioneer Express. I'm not sure why it's called that, but it is. But a lot of times, it's just simply shortened to Pio Express, or sometimes literally just Pio, just simply 3 letters. I don't know why I need so many names and abbreviations, so if you hear Pioneer Express or Pio or any of those terms in this video, just know that it's all exactly the same thing, the Lewis and Clark Shuttle. So I'm going to start off by talking about the routes, and then I'll get into the fleet and then how the schedule sort of is. The existing services are kind of weird, but it does make sense because it's tailored toward the college students, and that's it. So, weekdays, in the daytime, as in before 5 p.m., on weekdays, the bus goes from the college to the law school, which is serviced by Trimet on the line 35T. It's Southwest Terwilliger and Lewis and Clark Law School. That's why the bus serves that, is because Lewis and Clark's Law School building is separate from the rest of the campus. Then it travels along Barber Boulevard, completely express, with a single flag stop sort of thing at Southwest Barber and Hamilton. And then it goes into downtown Portland and turns around at PSU, which, funny enough, it goes from one college to a university that might be a rival of some sort, but I'm not sure. It is a very safe spot for a stop, and it's at Southwest Broadway and Hall. It serves one of the buildings at PSU. But it's a very convenient location because it's right next to the transit mall, where you can catch Trimet's bus, MAX, and streetcar service, all pretty close to this general area. And I forgot to mention, I knew this video was going to be a disaster, but when it comes into Portland, it comes up Nadeau Parkway and comes down Harrison Street. And so you might have seen this bus if you see a blank white bus or a white bus with orange stripes. I'll get into the fleet here in a little bit, but if you've seen that while riding the Portland streetcar or something like that, and you're like, what is that? Well, it's the Lewis and Clark Shuttle. After leaving downtown, it heads back onto Barber Boulevard and serves, again, a flag stop at Barber and Lane, going in the other direction. I have no idea why they don't actually serve Barber and Hamilton in this direction, but whatever. And it, again, goes express all the way down Barber, all the way down Terwilliger, and into the law school again, and then back to the Lewis and Clark College. It's a very simple route. It connects the college and the law school with downtown Portland. This service is provided all day long, better than hourly. We'll say anywhere from 45 to 60 minute frequency for the most part all day. And the trip from the college to downtown Portland takes about 20 minutes. Monday through Thursday evenings, the trips do kind of the same thing, but with a brief detour. The bus goes from Lewis and Clark College all the way up to Terwilliger, and it serves the law school, comes all the way up to Terwilliger, and instead it goes the other way on Barber Boulevard, looping around the Burlingame Fred Meyer. A lot of students that go to the school shop at the Fred Meyer, and so the bus serves the Fred Meyer, before it goes all the way around it and back onto Barber, doing the exact same thing, going express on Barber and looping through downtown Portland just the same. And when it comes back, it serves the Fred Meyer again that way, and then it loops all the way back around, back onto Terwilliger, and back to the college. It's the same, except the route detours to serve the Fred Meyer, going to Portland and going back to the college. Suppose you live on campus and you want to go shopping at the Fred Meyer. You could just hop on the bus there in the college, go to the Fred Meyer, shop in the Fred Meyer, and then get on the bus again and take it back to the college without having to go into Portland. Or the other way around is true too. If you don't live on campus and are going to be coming in from the other way, then you can go shop at the Fred Meyer and then go into downtown Portland to go home. This is going to be a complete disaster to explain, and it is very confusing, so buckle up. You may want a map nearby to help you out with this one. But Friday night, as well as weekends, the route is very different from anything I've described so far. I'm not really sure why they do this, but it definitely gets used because I've been on it a couple of times, and it gets quite busy. Friday nights and on weekends, the bus goes out of the college, goes all the way up Terwilliger Boulevard, and serves the Fred Meyer again. It loops around the Fred Meyer and comes back and goes down Taylor's Ferry and onto Macadam, over the Selwood Bridge, and services a stop in the Selwood neighborhood at Tacoma and 13th. There's an entire, I don't know if it's some sort of Saturday market or if just a ton of people hang out here, but it gets very busy at this stop. Either a ton of people are getting on or a ton of people are getting off at this particular stop. Anyways, just when you thought that was weird enough, it then goes on to McLaughlin Boulevard, right up along the Max Orange line, goes on to 17th Avenue, and serves Southeast 17th and Mall Street, right in front of Center Garage. Okay, then it keeps going up 17th Avenue and takes the exit onto Powell Boulevard, and it services the stop at Southeast Powell and Milwaukee Avenue. Alright, then it goes over the Ross Island Bridge, which is now the only public transit service, I believe, that goes over the Ross Island Bridge, because Trimet discontinued Line 66, which went over Ross Island, and rerouted the 19 to go over Tillicum. So, this is now the only public transit service, and it's a friggin' college shuttle. But anyway, it goes over the Ross Island Bridge, and it ends up on 1st Avenue and serves a stop at 1st and Harrison. That's the only stop in downtown Portland. It then loops all the way around, goes on to I-5 sometimes, although sometimes it goes on to NATO Parkway, but whatever. It exits at Terwilliger Boulevard, services the Fred Meyer again, goes all the way around, and then down Terwilliger back to the college. This entire loop takes about an hour. And Friday nights, it will also service the law school, but on weekends I believe the law school is closed, and so the law school stop is not listed on the schedule. Now on to the fleet. Firstly, I gotta talk about EcoShuttle. I have an entire video planned eventually on EcoShuttle, which will include its fleet, but that's probably going to be a ways into the future. But in general, EcoShuttle more or less buys retired buses and uses them. So if you want to get on some really old buses, then EcoShuttle's probably a pretty good option to do that. Although I will say, the Lewis and Clark shuttle is meant for the college students as well as the staff members that work around it. So they're pretty much going to be the ones on the Pioneer Express. I have taken it before. I am not a member of Lewis and Clark College. I have no relation with it, but I look enough like a college student and I'm of the right age to where nobody notices. And just, you know, I'm not here condoning you to take Lewis and Clark shuttle if you've never been on it before, or if you're like 13 years old and you know you definitely will not fit in. I do not recommend taking the Pioneer Express unless you are a college student. I do not want to get you in trouble. I do not want to get the college or EcoShuttle in trouble. I don't want them to have to start IDing everybody that gets on the bus to make sure they're students of Lewis and Clark. So I do not recommend taking this bus. but I will say that I have done it, and I plan on getting videos of all of those routes that I've talked about and showing them to you at some point. But anyway, I was talking about fleet at one time. So a few years ago, EcoShuttle was running some truly ancient buses on this particular shuttle. They had Gillig Phantoms that came from C-Tran, as well as Trimet that would sometimes run on these, as well as some old New Flyer buses from 1997, 1998, and some from 2007. Now, and since 2022, those buses have retired and they've mostly been sent off, although the EcoShuttle yard might still have a couple of those old buses that they just haven't gotten rid of yet. But anyways, there are 4-ish buses that can be used, that are all very similar, that can be used on the shuttle. Their numbers 450, 755, 763, and 957. I am not even going to start to try and break down how EcoShuttle's numbering system works, because I personally don't even understand it myself, but those are the 4 buses. And numbers 450 and 763 have a special paint on them. Across the top, above the upper deck windows, and across the bottom near the wheels, is painted in a nice orange color. And then there's a big old Lewis and Clark decal. I'm not honestly sure if this is paint or if it's wrapped. I wouldn't imagine them buying a bus from 2007 and completely repainting it just to use it for a few years to where the bus is no longer even serviceable. So it's probably a wrap, but I'm not 100% sure. The other 2 buses I listed, 755 and 957, very occasionally get used on the shuttle, and these are completely blank white New Flyer buses with a little EcoShuttle logo on it. All 4 of the buses are 2007 New Flyer D40 LFs. Now, if you go onto the EcoShuttle website, they have a place where you can track your bus, which is very cool. And you can do the Pioneer Express right on there. I'll probably leave a link for that in the description if I remember. But you can only track numbers 450 and 763. But those are the 2 buses with the paint on them. And if you take a look at this, for the, I don't know, at the time of me uploading this, more than a month, we'll say definitely over the last month that you've seen this, they have only been running number 450 on the shuttle. Which is cool because it is one of the painted buses, and I have a video on it. Here's a very short preview of what they look like from the inside and kind of from the outside, seeing the reflection on one of the windows. I'm going to have an entire video of this ride coming up fairly soon, so definitely stay tuned for that. That is what they look like. If you ever see those around Portland, now you know what they're for. And if you see blank, completely blank New Flyer D40 LFs, that's also probably EcoShuttle. Now, the front head sign also doesn't say anything on these buses. I think on number 763, which I have not been on, but I've seen a picture of it, it has a sign that says mask required or mask recommended or something like that, but they haven't been using that bus in a long time. So now I'd like to sort of talk about the schedule. So, weekdays, it pretty much runs from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. And if it's before 5 p.m., then it does the daytime route. But if it's after 5 p.m., it does either the route via Fred Meyer, or if it's Friday night, it'll go via Selwood Neighborhood and Fred Meyer. Now, weekends is a little bit different. You have trips from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., but a couple of hours out of the day, there aren't trips because the driver takes an hour-long break because they're pretty much driving continuously for a few hours. And so they get an entire hour as a break, so sometimes it'll be sitting at the college for a while. Now, I will leave a link in the description to the Lewis and Clark transportation page where they mention the Pioneer Express, and they have all the schedules and the route maps, and this is all public knowledge and it's all general information if you want to check out the schedule for yourself, or if you're checking out that Lewis and Clark tracker, It's so that you know where the bus is going to be. So I'll leave resources to all of that in the description. I'd like to talk about the future by talking about the past, because after looking at the Wayback Machine and finding some old schedules, the Lewis and Clark Pioneer Express thing used to be a little different, but also kind of similar. So before Trimet branched line 35 into the 35T and 35R, the Pioneer Express also used to run through the Sellwood neighborhood. I'm not going to talk about that too much because that's probably not ever going to happen again, because you can just take Trimet's line 35T from the Lewis and Clark Law School to South Waterfront if you needed the Zupan's grocery store or just generally South Waterfront. But what I will tell you is something that I found kind of interesting. Friday night and Saturday night schedules used to be absolutely insane, because there were a few trips that were tacked on at the very end of the night for people that probably went partying in downtown Portland on Friday nights and Saturday nights, because the schedule ran until 2 a.m. And so with that in mind, I'm going to tell you how I would sort of rebuild the schedule to sort of include that. Now, I had an entirely different formulation before, where I started... I did it kind of weird, but I lettered the routes like A, B, C, D, and just kind of said, okay, so Route A runs during these times, Route B runs during these times, and kind of that sort of thing. But that was too confusing, and I missed out some things, and so I'm starting that over, and so I'll tell you my more updated ideas now. Weekdays, during the daytime, the shuttle goes from the college to downtown Portland, pretty much just as it currently does. Although, to be clear, I don't really know how much the stops at Barber and Hamilton northbound or Barber and Lane southbound are used. The few times that I've been on through this segment, those stops have never been used. But I don't frequently ride this because I don't attend Lewis and Clark. Shh, nobody told you that. So if truly not very many people would benefit from those stops being kept open, then this shuttle could actually benefit from running on I-5 to get you to Portland quicker. Monday through Thursday evenings after 5 p.m., the buses would go from the college to the Fred Meyer and then to Portland. So basically, from the college to Portland via Fred Meyer, or from Portland to the college via Fred Meyer. Friday evenings, as well as weekends, would have the same sort of thing that it currently does. It would go to Sellwood neighborhood via Fred Meyer, and then from Sellwood back to the college via downtown Portland and Fred Meyer. But Friday night, after 10 p.m., starting at 10 p.m., trips would then go from the college straight to downtown Portland and straight back via I-5. No intermediate stops. You probably wouldn't serve the law school or anything. Just college, downtown Portland, college. That's it. And it would serve the same PSU, Southwest Broadway, and Hall. And the last nerdy thing that I'll talk about is with the buses and the wiring, I suppose. The pull cords. Let's talk about the pull cords. Yeah, nobody uses the pull cords. I honestly don't even know if they're hooked up. I don't really want to just pull it and it would go ding, stop requested, and then everybody turns and looks at me like, did you just pull that? What? Because I really honestly don't think they use it. I have only been on it a few times, and I've never used it. I've never seen anybody use them, and I don't even know if they work. The cords are in there, but there's a lot of things missing. The front head sign, like I said, doesn't really work in any of the buses, or they'll just be stuck on one sign or something like that. They don't have special programs that tell you Pioneer Express. In fact, I could make an entire thing like blacking out the screen and show you where it would say Pioneer Express, and then it could switch to Lewis and Clark or Lewis and Clark College via Fred Meyer or something if that's the trip that was happening, or just maybe simply Pioneer Express to Portland or to Sellwood via Fred Meyer or something. I don't know. or to Portland via Selwood. There's a lot of things, but instead you just kind of have to know where the bus goes, and the signs just remain blank. Well, I kind of sort of ran out of things to talk about. I'm surprised I made this long of a video about the Pioneer Express. But, like I said, I'll have an entire video on EcoShuttle at some point in the future. And so definitely be on the lookout for that. I will probably mention Lewis and Clark in my EcoShuttle video, but I'll probably gloss over it more so because this was meant to be the dedicated, highly detailed video on that topic. So with that, I thank you for watching. Look forward to some videos from the Pioneer Express coming soon. I hope to film all the routes before graduation. Oh man, see, this video is a disaster. I should probably mention these shuttles do not run during summer break, winter break, fall break. They do not run during the breaks. So, yeah. There's also graduation shuttles that run during graduation day, and there used to be airport shuttles that would go from the college to Portland Airport at the start of breaks, and they'd go from the airport back to the college at the end of the breaks. But anyways, I'm just leaving this kind of in limbo. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.